Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. So today we would like to learn about narrative text. The type of narrative text that we would like to learn today is fractal fairy tale. So before we start the class, we would like to know before what is the CP and dan TP. It means like capaian pembelajaran or tujuan pembelajaran that we would like to achieve for this class. So next for the CP. The CP in this subject, like the students are able to express the ideas and imagination in narrative text like writing or multimodal using proper structure like orientation, complication, and also resolution. And also, students are able to using language features such as simple past tense, action verb, temporal conjunctions. So, for the tujuan pembelajaran, student can identify, analyze, outline, write, and present fractal verb using proper structure and the language feature itself. Okay, so before we start the materials, we would like to know what is the lesson objective for this class is it. So for the first, you are able to identify the structure of the narrative text like orientation, complication, and also the resolution. And next, you are able to analyze language feature in narrative text. So the last one, you are able to write a short fractal fairy tale and create a twist or change in familiar fairy tale to make fractal fairy tale itself. So let's move for the definitions. What is the definition of fractal fairy tale is it? Fractal fairy tale is a story that change or break a well-known fairy tale to create a new and different versions, often with a funny or modern twist. So it means like fractal fairy tale is a retold version of classic fairy tale with a change that make it different, often funny and modern. So the purpose of fractal fairy tales is to entertain reader by retelling a well-known fairy tale in a new and creative way. Like it means like the purpose of fractal fairy tale is to entertain by retelling a familiar story in a creative way. So, we move to the genre structure. In narrative text also using genre structure. There are three genre structure in narrative text. Orientation, complication, and also reorientation. But especially in narrative text or of fractal fairy tales using twist or change. So, for the orientation is a part that introduces the structure, setting, and situation of the story. It means they'll use the same character from the original fairy tale, but sometimes in a different or modern setting. For example, like once upon a time, Little Red Riding Hood living in a small town and loved using her smartphone. Okay, next for the complication. Complication is the part present the problems or the conflict in the story. In the practical tales, the conflict is often different or humorous compared and the original story. For example, like one day she met a wolf in the way to her grandmother. For the twist or change for the practical tales is this the unique part of the practical tales, where the story changed the original plot, character, or point of view to make the surprising or funny. Okay, for the last one is resolution. This part shows how the problem is solved, usually in a different way from the original theory. Okay, next for the practical tales also using language feature. For the first is past tense. For example, like live, once, or sold, found, etc. And the second one is action verb. It's for example like run, walk, fight, help, and etc. And the third one is the time connective or time signal. For example, like once upon a time, one day, then, and after, and finally. And the last one is direct speech or dialogue. For example, like, please help me, said the rabbit. Like that. Maybe that's all for our material about the fractal tells for narrative text. Next, we move to analyze together about the example of the story fractal tell. For the example, The Three Wishes by Katrina Pyle. Okay, now let's read this text by yourself, and then we would like to analyze together about the structure and also the language feature of the fractal tells. Okay, for the orientations or pengenalan, this part introduce the character and also the situation of the first story. For the second structure is the complication of the problems. This part is show the conflict and the problem that in that story. And the last one is the resolution. This part show the how to solve the problems. The last one is moral value. It's optional for fractal tells or narrative text.It, but in this text has moral value like think carefully before making decision and do not waste opportunities of you. Okay, maybe that's all for our class today. Next, for the exercise about Cinderella lost slipper, you have to read and complete the resolution in your book. So, for the last one, for the reflections, for our class today, did students understand the structure of narrative text like orientation, complication, resolution, and relate the fractal tells of their prior knowledge? So for the second, were students mindful and focused on analyzing language feature and origination their story ideas? And the last one, did students feel engaged and enjoy the activity of the reading, discussion, writing, and presenting the fractal tells? Okay, maybe that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.